with that in mind, is anyone in this organization on the hot seat? They're 6-3, 10-7, probably gets them to the playoffs, which means they need to go 4-4 the rest of the way, which is doable.
Very doable.
But they haven't done it yet. If they somehow miss the playoffs, does someone get replaced?
John Lynch, I think, gets replaced. Or he's either going to get fired.
He gets promoted.
Or promoted to be the general manager and like, here, go be the face of the franchise. Let's bring in somebody as close as we can get to Howie Roseman. But I think that if the Niners don't make the playoffs, or if the Niners make the playoffs and get blown out, total lopsided loss, I think he's gone. Because the fact that, look, he didn't make a move at the trade deadline. We already heard rumors that people in the building were pissed. I'm sure the players were pissed. They were like, dude, we didn't get anybody? We're hurting over here, man. This is ridiculous. And the ownership in front office is probably saying, hey, look, man, you had a good run. I like John Lynch, but I'm not paying John Lynch. If I'm paying John Lynch and I'm managing John Lynch as a front office, I start to get upset after a while saying, hey, look, you've been to 2 Super Bowls. You lost both of them. You got us there. You haven't won the big game, and this season, like last season, was a letdown. So I think he would be on the hot seat, not Kyle Shanahan.
I agree with you on this one, and I think it's tricky because there's a reason they hired John Lynch in the first place. They wanted a guy who would let Kyle Shanahan have a ton of say on personnel. Not a lot of GMs will do that. So Lynch was cool with that. They also wanted a guy who would let Parag Marathe have the final say on contracts. A lot of GMs wouldn't be cool with that, but Lynch is, because he doesn't really have any like background or expertise in this. He's just a former player who is trusting his intuition and his ability to like ask the right people for the right help.
Right.
So if you replace him, can you just get the number 2 guy with the Eagles or the Chiefs or the Rams and say, like, do whatever you want? Like, is Kyle okay with that? Is Parag okay with that? I don't think so. But what they could do is promote Lynch or let him go back to being a announcer and then promote someone from within their own organization. What they could say is like, look, we lost Adam Peters. We've been getting poached. We have a good front office, which we're not really fully utilizing. The next guy in line is, what's his name? Josh. What's his name? Josh Williams? Forget his name. But he's the next guy up.
Yeah.
Or RJ Gillen. If someone from the Niners front office, Tariq Ahmad, gets interest somewhere else and they feel they're going to lose him, they could say, well, this guy really is a scout. This guy is responsible for some of our best draft picks. We're going to make him the new general manager, promote him, promote John to something where he's far away from personnel. And that way Parag and Kyle can still sort of stay in control. I could see that happening. I don't know if it would necessarily fix things. That's why if you're going to fire John, I think you got to bring in someone from a different organization that has won a Super Bowl and say, like, Parag, Kyle, you guys have too much freaking power and swallow your pride a little bit. And let's bring it. It's a copycat league, so we're going to copy a team that's done it.
You know what they're going to do? If they move off of John Lynch, either promote or fire or whatever they do, they move off of John Lynch, how much you want to bet they would reach out to Howie Roseman and be like, hey, we'll pay you more than you're getting paid the Eagles if you come over here. And he'll say no. He'll be like, no, I'm just going to stay here. And then they'll go find someone who's just like him. Because look what they did with Bill Belichick. They fired Steve Wilkes and they said, hey, Bill, you want to come over? He was like, nah, I don't want to. He was like, oh, shit.
But that's different, though, because it's like, wouldn't it be cool from Kyle's perspective? Wouldn't it be cool to have Bill as my assistant coach? Like, that would be such an ego boost. But to bring in...
They're doing that this year with Robert Saleh there. You're going against 2 head coaches.
That's true. But what I'm trying to say is, like, this is a very arrogant organization. They've lost Super Bowls and they act like they know what it takes to win Super Bowls. They act like they've had the Super Bowl winning formula for years and they need to just keep it together because, injuries and bad luck have been the only real hurdle in their way, which is bullshit. And if they were to fire John Lynch and bring in the number 2 guy from a team like the Rams or the Chiefs or the Eagles, it would be an admission that all that shit was coping and that they don't know what it takes and they need to, like, if you can't beat them, join them sort of a situation, which is what they need to do. It would be like actual, what would you call it? Like growth,
self-reflection.
Yeah.
The thing too is that like you didn't make a move because you're like, well, we covered our picks, we want to hang on to our draft picks, but you haven't proven that you can draft effectively.
Good at drafting. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why some of these trades, I'm like, hey, maybe you do give up a second rounder for what's his name from the Eagles? I mean, the Jets, because it's like, hey, look, who am I going to get in the second round that's better than him? Then what's his name?
At least we know exactly who he is, man.
Jermaine
you take people in the second round, and I don't know. They've drafted guys in rounds 1, 2, and 3 who are not NFL players. You spent a third round pick on a kicker on a practice squad right now.
Jake Moody.
You throw these picks away. At least if you trade them for Jalen Phillips, you're not throwing the pick away.
If you look at their draft picks over the past 5 years, there's a plethora of names that you're like, bad pick, bad pick, bad pick, bad pick, bad pick, because they didn't do anything. What's his name? Ty Davis Price? Where is he now? Nowhere.
Yep.
What's his name?
Even the good ones.
Johnson?
Even the good ones. Brandon Ayuk. Where is he? Ricky Pearsall.
We know where he's at. He's hurt. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah, and like it's a brutal game, but like even their good ones aren't here. It's rough. No. So yeah, I think they're probably not going to fire Kyle Shanahan. Probably not.
No.
So I've been very critical of him, but like if he was right about Sam Darnold, if he's right about Mac Jones, if he has a future with Mac Jones, then roll with it. If he's the reason Robert Saleh's here, then roll with it. But if they miss the playoffs, someone's got to go. And I think it's easy to point to the general manager. In addition, it'd be nice to bring in a general manager that actually fucking cared about the offensive line. Because as long as Kyle's calling the shots, this offensive line is going to be the weakness of the team. I don't think you can win a Super Bowl that way. There's a lot of reasons they haven't won a Super Bowl. That's one of them.
Connor Colby was absolute garbage for weeks, and there was I was just like, there's no other option. The first game he played, I was like, hey, this guy looks great. And after that, it was just like a mess. And other teams were targeting Connor Colby as a way of getting to the quarterback. Like, hey, target him because he's their weak spot. Well, now he's gone, and Spencer Burford came back, and he looks so much better. And they're going against a Giants defensive line that specializes in pass rush. You have Brian Burns, you have Thibodeau, there's another guy over there. So that's their thing. They're like, hey, we want to make you throw the ball because that's what we're good at. We're good at pass rush. And the Niners neutralize that pass rush, which was great. Are they going to do it this week? Well, we'll find out. Jake Brennan's coming back, so.
Yeah, he is. Envix Media says dump Brock's contract just to pay Mac.
Then what's the point of that? Then you're like, oh, we dumped Brock, but now we're paying Mac all this money. And again, is Mac the quarterback you look at and say, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to put us over the top? I don't think so. I think he's good and serviceable and does a great job, but he's not that guy. He's not Matt Stafford. And I don't know.
No.
Has he hit his ceiling? Or do you think
but
there's
neither
still more?
Is Brock, in my opinion. And so what I would say is the reason to trade Brock wouldn't be to turn around and give Mac Jones $53 million a year. Like, absolutely freaking don't do that. What you would do is turn around and give Brock give Mac a 2-year extension, maybe a 3-year extension. You could give him the 3-year, $100 million extension, which isn't really 100, and you can get out of it after 2 years. It's that middle ground contract. And maybe you don't want to do that. We still have 2-3 more months to gauge where we're at. But in no universe is Mac Jones getting the Brock Purdy contract in 3-4 months. That's not going to happen. And that's kind of why I like him. Fits your system. He's not outrageously expensive.
The guy they needed to get was Baker Mayfield. When he was a free agent, when he was a journeyman on the Rams, remember? That's when they should have jumped on him. Because, I mean, look, you look at what he did against the Niners, dude, he looked phenomenal. He's the reason why they won that game.
Yeah. He's a great quarterback. Double B Studio says, is the Niners' problem diet? I don't know.
Yeah.
Josh P says, Lynch is on the hot seat. We have dog shit drafts, and we don't go for best player available. Draft players who fucking stand out. Don't draft for need.
I mean, there's been a lot of players they drafted that have not worked out. I don't know what their system is for drafting. It sounds like it's like, okay, I got my pick. Jimmy in on the defensive team. Who's your pick this round? I want to go with, it just kind of sounds like, wait a minute, hold on. It sounds like Howie Roseman is like, no, these are the guys I want. You guys can give me your input, but these are the guys I want. And we need somebody.
It seems like Lynch's process is to ask the coaches for input a lot. And I think he thinks it's smart because that way he knows he's always going to draft players who fit their scheme and players that they're like invested in. But when you ask coaches for input, you're always going to get reaches for need because coaches want to fill spots on their depth chart. They're not thinking about 3 years down the line. They could get fired. They need to win the next game. And that's why you need to have a separation between coaches and general managers. Someone has to have their eyes 3 years down the line. It's not the coach. And someone has to have their eyes on the next game. It's not the general manager. Yeah.
If you ask in any workplace environment, you ask a department manager, hey, who do you want in our building for your team? Oh, I want that guy, and that guy. Those are the best guys, and those are the guys that I need. Okay, well, who do you want that's going to be the long-term replacement for you? Huh? I don't know. I don't care. I just want guys that I can get in here now that can make my job easier. And so that's the difference.
And it's like the way they drafted this offseason, it seemed very much like Lynch was asked Saleh, okay, we want to rebuild this defense. Saleh, what do you need? Saleh's like, I need run defenders. So they draft 3 defensive linemen and none of them are pass rushers. Why? Well, you didn't have an immediate need for a pass rush. But guess what? You always need pass rushers.
You always
need pass rushers, and your needs change on a week-to-week basis because it's the NFL. And here we are, week 10, and this team can stop the run but not rush the quarterback. It's like, how does that happen? Well, you didn't have an immediate need for it in freaking March. So hope we learned our lesson on that one. WB Studio says, I think Parag got canned and Lynch leaves. I don't think Parag's getting canned. He's running their soccer teams.
Prague
Lee Hollywood
is valuable to them.
Yeah, he's their wartime consigliere. Lee Hollywood H, new member. Thank you. If you haven't heard, member only stuff once a week, 3 deep. That's me, Jesse, and the coach. It's a little.
It's a great name.
Thank you. It's R. Lustry says we've this year learned that with Kyle, we never need to spend big on quarterbacks. They're always talented guys mishandled by the team that drafted them. I would have to say so. You have to be okay
to
with
an extent. I mean, Brian Hoyer was garbage. CJ Beathard was garbage.
True.
Was it Mullins was good for a minute? Then it was like, he's not that good.
I think what Aru is talking about is the like first round pick who had high hopes and got labeled a bust because he was on the Panthers or the Jets. Those are the guys that Kyle's trying to poach. I would think that's the new format. Lee Hollywood H says, look, Grant, let's have a real conversation. Until Jed York or his family really care about winning Super Bowls like Eddie did, Kyle and John will continue to draft bad and have bad offensive lines and never take the quarterback position seriously. Here's a position. Here's a thank you, Lee Hollywood H, for your $50 and putting this in my head. How focused are the 49ers on winning Super Bowls? I know it sounds like a question you would take for granted. Kyle is focused on it. John is focused on it. The players are focused on it. But what about the Yorks? They've sold off 10% of their team in the last 12 months, and they bought a soccer team. They already owned another. They have 2 soccer teams and 1 football team. Again, the optics are that the owners aren't as focused on Super Bowls as they should be. They're also focused on winning other championships and making other money. And I can't help but notice that the Eagles, who just fucking won the Super Bowl, have an owner who owns 1 team, the Eagles. And they're focused on that shit, and they win it. I'm just saying.
When you diversify your business or your company or whatnot, you become more about your profits.
Yep.
What are the earnings? What are we bringing in? And how can we make profits better?
Yep.
And when you want to win a Super Bowl, you have to spend money to do that. And now it seems like they're like, hey, pump the brakes, draft, get younger, get cheaper, develop, and then try to win. And it seems
try to
like,
win.
You know what I mean?
Like
it just seems like ever since the end of last year, they were like, new philosophy: draft, get cheaper, and try to win as much as you can. Yeah,
it seemed like the Yorks and Parag were very into let's win this Super Bowl so we can legitimize ourselves against Eddie DeBartolo, Bill Walsh, Carmen Policy. We're in their shadow. So the way to get out of their shadow is to build a stadium, did that, and 2, win a Super Bowl. Well, they're 0 for 3. So can't do that. What they've learned along the way is that they can make a ton of money on their quest for a championship. You don't have to win it. Just have to be on a quest. And so since they don't know what it takes to win it, but they do know what it takes to profit, Man, just do that hell on a bunch of teams. I mean, they cannot win championships with 3 or 4 different teams, which is exactly what they're doing. And in the process, they can make hella money. That's what they know how to do. So sorry to be that bleak.
It's the truth, though. It's the truth.
It is, man. That's what they're good at. Players get more hurt now than before because NFL cracks down on steroids, which thickens muscle tissue. So this is NFL's fault. Can you investigate? Yeah, I'll get right on that one.
Get on that, Grant.
Justin says, the day we move on from Lynch, I'm crying tears of joy. They need a new draft philosophy. Bad rounds 1 to 3 have been abysmal. Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, if John Lynch stuck around and you promoted him, you brought somebody else in who was more of a player personnel expert. To me, that's the winning formula. You don't have to fire him, but then again, he's a competitor. If you say, hey, we're going to promote you, he might say, whoa, I know what you're doing. Fuck that, I'm out of here. You never know.
And again, they need to get over themselves and bring in someone from outside the organization. If they were to do that, that would, to me, be the most promising sign. You bring in someone from the Rams, that would be interesting. Fire your training staff. Sorry, Dustin Perry. And bring in someone from the Rams. I looked at their injury report. 3 guys on that shit this week. Bring in someone from the Rams injury department, strength and conditioning, and then bring in someone from the Eagles personnel department. That would be a serious move. That's what Eddie Bartolo would do. So it's a copycat league.
3 guys, and the Ravens yesterday. The Ravens reported 0 players on their injury report for the 2nd straight day of practice, and I was like, "What's that like?
How?"
You look at the Niners, I'm just like, that's what I'm saying. Like, are you over-reporting your injuries? Like, what's wrong with you?
Doubt it.
I have a sore tummy. Sore tummy. Put him down. Limited. You know, it's kind of like there's just so.
True.
You're telling me all those players on the Ravens, the Rams, whoever, they're like tip top. Like, yeah, we're ready to go. They don't have any ailing ankle injuries or knee injuries because they're like, D. Winards, knee bruise. Like, wait, what? Nobody has these. I feel like they're over-reporting all their injuries. I really do.
I think you might have something here because what the theme of the show today is controlling the discourse. And what do the Niners want us to say about them? A lot of injuries. Hey, this is just beyond the pale. I mean, this is like nothing we've ever seen. I mean, forget all the guys on IR. Just look at their practice report. I mean, there's 15 names on it. I mean, and that's the conversation constantly, not like, are they going to make the playoffs? It's like, if they make the playoffs, is Kyle Shanahan the coach of the year? Should he get an extension? You know what I mean?
Some of those guys on the list, they end up playing on Sunday. And you're like, wait a minute, that guy was hurt all week, and now he's playing. So to me, it's like, hey, look, like you were saying, controlling the narrative, right? Let's just put as many players as we can on there. We're hurt, we're banged up, but we're
that's all you can talk about.
And we're winning games.
Yeah.
Because we don't give up. We don't take no shit from anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
we're a great story.
There you go.
We're a great story.
And look at 2023.
We should be getting more recognition.
In 23, what was the story? Mr. Irrelevant is leading us to the fucking Super Bowl.
Yep.
And you know what? True. That whole thing got screwed up because Brock Purdy, more than likely, had a shot to beat the Eagles and then gets the Super Bowl in his first year. And I guarantee you, if anyone thinks that this game is rigged, the NFL would have made Brock Purdy the Super Bowl champion and MVP of the Super Bowl if he would have beat the Eagles. I mean, come on, that's like a Disney movie right there.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Instead, he got hurt, and they're like, oh, shit. And then the next year he got there, but it just didn't seem like as magical probably to the NFL as it did the year before because, like, well, he did this last year, so it's fine. I mean, whatever.